Do you know that there are a total of 156 math facts, multiplication facts for children to memorize? That's a large number. Can they be reduced? Yes, they can, by keeping in mind some simple tips. I won't call them tricks, but I would call them tips and effective shortcuts. One of them is that the zero times table can be removed because anything times zero is zero. When you take away the zero times table, you're taking away 12 of these facts, reducing the number to 144 facts. Another thing you can take away is the one times table because one times anything is the same thing. When you take away the one times table, you are reducing the number further from 144 to 132 facts. Not only that, you can also take away the implicit one times table because commutativity helps us to say that x times y and y times x are the same thing. So you take away the implicit one time table in the rest of the times table, and the result is that you're going to reduce the number of facts further to just 121 facts. Now we can also take away the two times table, the four times table, and the eight times table. Why? Because to multiply anything by 2, you just have to double it. To multiply something by 4, you have to double it and double it again. To multiply it by 8, you have to double it again, and double it again. For example, 5 times 2, you double 5 to give you 10. 5 times 4, you double 5 to give you 10. You double it again to give you 20. 5 times 8, you double 5 to give you 10. You double it again to give you 20. You double it again to give you 40. So we take this away, and we also take away the implicit 2, 4, and 8 times table, which are found in other multiplication tables. We can also take away the 10 times table, the 9 times table, and the 11 times table. To multiply the number by 10, you simply have to add 0 to the end of the number. 6 times 10, add 0 to the end of 6 to give you 60. To multiply any number by 9, add 0 to the end of the number and remove the number. 6 times 9, 6 times 10 minus 6. 6 times 9 is what? 6 times 10 is 60. 60 minus 6 is 54. So 6 times 9 is 54. To multiply a number by 11, add 0 to the end of the number and then add the number. 6 times 11 is what? 6 times 10 is 60. 60 plus 6 is 66. So once we keep this formula in mind, we can take away the 9 times table, 10 times table, and 11 times table, and the implicit 9, 10, and 11 times table, which are found in other times tables. And now we have 25 facts left. 25 facts are still a bit too much for a child to memorize. Why don't you take away the 5 times table? And this is the basis for doing so. To multiply a number by 5, first half that number and multiply it by 10. Or multiply it by 10 and half your answer. To multiply 5 by 5, 5 times 10 is 50. Half of 50 is 25. So 5 times 5 is 25. 6 times 10 is 60. Half of 60 is 30. So 6 times 5 is 30. Or you can say half of 6 is 3 and 3 times 10 is 30. So 6 times 5 is 30. Once you have this down, you can eliminate the 5 times table and the implicit 5 times table found in other multiplication tables because of its commutative properties. So now we are left with 16 facts, which is still a bit much. Now we can take away the square numbers. 3 times 3, 6 times 6, 7 times 7, and 12 times 12. These square numbers can be memorized independently. Now we are left with 12 facts. We can take away some commutative properties. For example, we can say 6 times 3, 3 times 6 is 18. Here we can see 3 times 6 is 18. We can see 7 times 3 is 21. Here we can also say 7 times 3 is 21. These are commutative. Let's take them away, because 3 times 7 is the same as 7 times 3. 3 times 6 is the same as 6 times 3. 8 times x is the same as x times a. After doing so, we're now left with 6 facts. 7 times 3, 12 times 3, 3 times 6, 12 times 6, 6 times 7, and 12 times 7. So these 6 facts are things kids can memorize very easily. And these are some tips that your children can learn to make the times table very easy and very straightforward for them. Thank you for watching.